Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I've been looking at reviews online for Justice League. It's interesting how people, um, they, yes, people can have similarities in their analysis of a film, but it's interesting how people absorb rumors or absorb gossip and make it fact, and then they speak similarly to other people because they have been influenced by other people. You know how you put out a rumor? You put out a rumor by speaking loudly about something and repeating it a number of times. And people will literally embrace that thing as truth. They will not verify it, they will embrace it as truth. But if you're a critical thinker and you use critical thinking skills, you know when something's fluff and when it's not. I having seen the movie, know that there's some things circulating about it which are just plain flat out not true. And it's sad. I think people, because they also been following all the production business on Justice League and having certain expectations about the film based on trailers or based on hinting out, by actors certain things. They had certain expectations about the movie. And when those things were not actualized, these people were disappointed or grumpy. And it's such trivial nonsense. But it's because they didn't go into the movie with an open mind. I always tell people, don't go in with any expectations for a movie. Let the movie tell you what it is. But a lot of these people go in with baggage. Like some of these people, they had the movie spoiled for them because they were watching all these clips of the movie. I just watched the clips of the movie. I didn't go watch the clips, so I didn't have it spoiled for me. So, a lot of scenes from the movie, some pretty pivotal scenes in the movie, I think, which were in the clips. They weren't completely in the clips, but they were in the clips. When you watch the movie now, you're seeing these points of the clips in the movie, so you're thinking of the movie in clips and stuff, and you're looking technically at the movie instead of following the story of the movie. So it's pretty funny to me how they spoiled. So the moral of the story is, for the next movie, comic book movie or whatever, don't go spoiling the movie for yourself. Don't go watching those clips, especially clips, man. Trailers, okay, you may watch trailers, but be careful when you watch trailers. I would suggest the less you see, the better the experience will be for you. The less you know, the better the experience for you. Especially if you're a person swayed by people's opinions. You've been watching everything on the Justice League, movie reviews and everything. You can be swayed going into the movie. You can actually be tampered or tainted in your view of the movie. Take, for instance, if you're not a strong-minded person or a person who thinks for themselves, and a lot of you don't think for yourself, a lot of you have herd mentality. It's sad, which is why you need to just, if you're going to go see Justice League, don't be paying attention to all the close news and everything. Just go in and see it when it's time. But if you're a strong-minded individual or a person who thinks for themselves and critically analyzes things, this is not going to be an issue. All right? So I just wanted to say that. Now, for those of you who already spoiled the movie for yourselves because you've been watching it just about everything and you have not been filtering and you feel, I'm going to go in to see the movie and it won't taint my view of it. Okay, if you think so, go in and see the movie. I listened to Tyron Magna say, I watched the clips and it didn't spoil the movie for me. And the dummy didn't realize that it did spoil the movie for him because his anticipation of the movie and what he saw at the end, he's critiquing all these things which are irrelevant to the story. And you can't really tell. I heard a lot of people talking about how, the movie was cut roughly and stuff like that. And I'm laughing because I'm thinking, there ain't no roughness to the cut. Yeah, it was a little bit fast. It wasn't too rushed or anything. But because you guys so got invested in the movie and all the elements of the movie and even how it was created, you go and screw yourself over. So that you're not really following the story. You're distracted by this, or you're distracted by the cuts, or you're distracted by what you remember hearing. And then you start to recall to your mind and even see things that are not there. Here's a good example of what I'm talking about. So I hear a lot of people say that Justice League, it was rushed. And it felt like it needed a couple more minutes to it. And I'm thinking to myself, what are you talking about? But it's a rumor that started off because of hearing that the vice president or whoever it was said it needed to be 2 hours. I didn't feel this movie needed to be a second longer. I thought it was self-contained and it was just well. I didn't think it needed more breathing room. And as I told you, the context to it is the stakes, the tension, and the fact that the clock is ticking on this movie. So I thought that it fit just fine. And like I said before, when I look at also, because I hear a lot of people say, this movie, it really showed superheroes, but this movie had its problems. And I'm thinking, what problems does this movie have? You hear them all say this, and they all repeat, but this movie has its problems. And when they cite the problems, they're not problems. That's the funny thing about these guys. Like, people are sheep. Now, I'm not saying people can't agree on certain topics, like, for instance, the CGI at certain points in the movie and certain things that happen in the movie with the CGI. I agree with that. But you have to understand that you got to think for yourself. You have to critically assess something. If a movie is too fast-paced, and you tell me the story is pretty simple, why is the movie too fast-paced, in your opinion? Didn't you get the story? You got the story, so what's the problem? I hear people talk about how they were not invested enough in the characters because it was too fast. But yet you go on the other hand and say this movie was great for its characters. You're contradicting yourself. So, this is the kind of thing where critical skills and critical thinking tells me that people are brainwashed into thinking what other people are actually thinking. And they're not thinking for themselves. You got to learn to think for yourself. I heard them say, Steppenwolf's a weak villain. What's the purpose of a villain in a movie? Right? The villain in the movie is to present a challenge to the heroes. That's what the villain is for. So you can't call a villain weak if he's a threat to the heroes and you feel that threat. And two, most importantly, that his motivations are clear. Both things are the case with Steppenwolf. His motivations are clear, and he's a clear and present threat to the heroes throughout the movie. Okay? And that's all I'm going to say about that. I don't want to spoil anything. So, no, he wasn't a weak villain. That's not true at all. Was he the greatest villain that we've ever seen? No. Was, every single inch of his motivations and who he was explained? No. But his motivations were explained relevant to what was important to the movie and the outcome of the movie. That's what was most important. And this movie's very layered. It has a number of themes in it, directly from BVS actually, and it covers a number of things that were hinted to in BVS, and then they continued on that. So I love that about it. This is a much more layered film than meets the eye, but then again, Zack Snyder's films are usually layered. And I'll go into all of that in a spoiler review. This is what I want you guys to do. I want to have a hangout with you guys. Maybe next week, Sunday. Maybe next week, Saturday night, in which we discuss the spoiler-filled discussion of Justice League. I invite you, Tom Cabler, John King, MD Hack, Bruce Wayne, I have a number of Desiree. I have a number of subscribers. All of you are invited. We're going to try and get a Google Hangout going and streaming, and we'll discuss Justice League because I think it's worth discussing in some depth, and we can throw ideas of what you liked, what you didn't like. Desiree was a little bit dissatisfied or disappointed with some things, which I'm pretty sure are minor things if you really think about it in the context of the movie. And that's because you had certain expectations which didn't get met because you didn't go in to really listen to the story. You went in to get your checklist ticked off based on trailers and things you saw before. And you shouldn't do that. You should really just follow the story for what it gives you. I try to explain this to people over and over again because I'm totally satisfied with the movie. You can see I'm very happy because I didn't go in with expectations. I went in to see what the movie had to offer me and what was the journey that I was going to go on in the story. And I was completely satisfied with the journey. So That's a note for the future. When you're going to watch a comic book movie or any movie, don't go in there expecting the movie to do this or expecting the movie to do that. Secondly, do not spoil the movie for yourself. There is a certain degree of you must pull away from all that media. I didn't follow every single thing. I didn't click on every single video, especially spoiler-filled videos or clips, video clips of this movie. So I never had it spoiled for me. But those video clips will spoil the daylights out of that movie. They'll spoil the daylights out of the movie for you. I just watched the movie clips that were there, and I saw how they were in some pivotal scenes of the movie. It wasn't a complete scene, but the point is, those clips are not for people sold on the movie already. Those clips were for people who were not convinced, and people who were not convinced, they would watch 1 or 2 or 3 of the clips, and since they didn't follow the trailers or they weren't interested in the movie, they would buy into the movie. That's what those clips are for, not for you and me to be fanboying out and spoiling the daylights out of the movie. So if some of you are sour now because of your expectations or because you spoiled the movie, that's on you. I'm sorry, but it's on you. Okay? Anyway, man, I wanted to share that with you guys because there's a lot of rumors out there and people circulating things. And also I'm listening to the reviews, and some of the reviews are lukewarm about this movie, where this movie is not a lukewarm movie, but I know why. They spoiled the movie for themselves. They went and watched all the clips and all the trailers. They had expectations that certain things should happen in the movie, and they didn't. And they're all salty about that. It has nothing to do with how the movie is, which is funny. Because there's no way in God's green earth you couldn't like that latter end of the movie, man. That latter part of the movie was the bomb. Anyway, you guys have a great one.